What's up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome back to the Injectable SARMs recomposition, sitting at 240 pounds now, and you can actually see my abs. You can actually see a little bit of, separation in my stomach, and overall my powerlifting belt, I have to tighten it. So this has been a recomposition up around 240, 250. And yeah, I'm overall just taking it slow and steady because it's really about strength volume. It's about my central nervous system. It's about being strong again. And yeah, I think I'm probably going to sit my actual look around 220 pounds for my face. And then that is the gynecomastia at this weight. I have been doing a little bit of letrozole to try and keep it under control, but I would say that's a decently, tight waist for 240. I'm really not trying to train abs or anything like that, and the MK677 is still being yo-yoed in and out. So I still am yo-yoing that in and out, but I am not planning on sitting at 240, 250. I feel like the look is coming together for 220 pounds, and it'll be easy to get there because I'm sitting up here rebuilding and just waiting on the central nervous system. And I wanted to showcase my squat volume, so I did touch 425, which is moving the bar in the right direction, pushing a new limit, so I'm excited about that. Don't be hyper adamant on this squat form for me. I know the butt dip is it's pretty bad. I know it's pretty bad rewatching this. It does feel awkward still, and I was squatting at night, so this is when my CNS is the most fatigued, so my muscles look like they came back and everything, but like as far as the electricity to run them, I'm still messing around with the high bar squat, and I will be deadlifting soon. So I will be recording my deadlifting sessions, and yeah, I'm excited to deadlift. That will be topping it off, and then I can go back into bodybuilding. But it definitely feels like I'm at the part where, it's hard to charge a battery to 100%. I feel like I'm around 97 to 99%, and I'm just trying to hit that 100%. And this is the squat that, I would call this a pretty mid rep. I don't like the butt wink and everything, but like as far as like how that felt to do that rep, it didn't feel like it was going down, everything controlled. I just kind of went for it, and I have to be real careful as far as how to try and yo-yo the CNS back, because the old CNS was obviously a monster. So I'm just trying to figure out the safest way to get there. And I wanted to build up enough high bar because I do consider the high bar probably the most taxing in my mind other than the conventional deadlift. You can make arguments. So I wanted to make sure my high bar was good enough. And then I want to get into working with 405 on deadlift for big reps, meaning like I want a set of 405 for 10 so my body gets used to holding the electricity of like any day I'm walking around. I have a reserve of my central nervous system being exposed to having to do 405 for 10. So with this squat pyramid, you see me really just trying to give my body a new checkpoint. And I am doing ass to grass, but the butt wink is really bad in the squat session. I didn't notice how bad the form was breaking down during the squat session. I was just really focused on getting through a volume tree and not pussying out. So yeah, I have notated that I need to fix the squat form just a little bit. Also has to do with the lumbars. So my lumbars feel really normal these days, and it might be from this back session. So this is how I currently look in the gym. I was 245-ish, so this condition, as far as the face bloat goes, yeah, we know. But as far as how I'm looking with the injectable YK, the injectable LGD, the Sustanon base, I feel like that's a pretty separated, good look. I'm not trying to like blow up per se at this weight. I am really just chasing strength at this weight, And then I'm looking for, as I don't like sleeping up at 250. And overall, I think my 220-pound look will look pretty crispy if I look like this at, 245. There's significant separation. My delts are capped again. Visual vascularity. The upper chest is coming back. Obviously, my chest needs work. And the face is telling that my water retention, edema, and body fat's a bit too high. But as far as everything separated, there's veins. I get crazy pumps. My insulin sensitivity is pretty good up at this weight. It's no longer mega bloat lord. I'm definitely going in the right direction as promised, and it's that strength volume paying off. I'm resetting all the strength, and it's really helping me stay focused on the bigger picture of recovering my full physique, as far as being able to train how I want to train, and then probably back it off from there. So this is the day after, so I'm just hammering the CNS at this point. I'm really gunning for that 100%, so I can start recording normally and have a normal recorded workout. And this is probably my big spend was this set. So I touched all that weight for some double hammer strength rows. They weren't the greatest reps, but I did load that amount of tension and did some fast contractions. And then I did a drop set of volume. This is after that squat volume. I'm just trying not to give the central nervous system any breaks. I'm not trying to, allow it to, I'm just constantly putting it in, battle, war, make an adaptation. And as long as I have the CNS juice to contract my body right, I will go up till that limit. And then if I notice it, I will dip out, do cardio, or just do sauna or leave. And that's pretty much where I'm at, to a point where it's getting very close that I can train completely normal. I'm incredibly excited. And for me to do this set after that squatting, again, I did 425 at night when my CNS was fatigued all day. And I can tell you that 425 did not feel good. It felt that I was risking it for the biscuit with the 425, and it wasn't even a good rep. But for me to hit this hammer strength row volume the next day is showing that my CNS can turn over way faster. And that is the entire goal of me sitting up around 250, is just to get this over with the strength volume. And then visually, you'll see all my muscle. My muscle will look better. My face will be chiseled in. And then I'll look more like, I lift on the internet around 220 pounds. Although, that is a double XL gas jersey right there, right? So let's not forget that. I think most of you broccoli hairs actually just got to bake size on. Right now I'm just baking size on in the name of strength volume. But for years I sat up at these weights to make my 220-pound look legit in my mind. As legit as it's going to be for my genes, right? So I'm sitting way up than, where I want to be as far as the actual weight for health and longevity purposes. I really don't like being up here. I obviously like being big as shit, but at the end of the day, I wanted to get all this bulking done with before 30. So my 220-pound look, I can refine that over time, because at 5'11", I think 220 to 240 pounds is where I'm going to sit anyways as far as my body. I didn't really like when I got close to 280. Obviously, sleeping becomes a big concern, and I was not using a sleep apnea machine. So just keep that in mind, that if you do want to do this enhanced bodybuilding, poly drug abuse lifestyle, that you probably want a significant amount of muscle tissue, well, you got to eat big to get big. For most of my life, I was definitely sitting at a weight 20 to 30 pounds above training strength volume, so I have the density now to slowly refine it. And I wanted to show my waist, in the beginning of the video, because I have had, the urge to tighten my powerlifting belt, and this is a full recomposition showcasing the power of injectable LGD paired with injectable yk11. That, we saw what I looked like a couple months ago at this weight. And now you can see forearm separation and everything going on. Obviously, my face isn't tuned in, and I'm not saying I'm like, in a good body fat, but I'm definitely stating that this recomposition has gone extremely as planned, except that I'm very intimidated by the compound movement volume I want to get to. I realistically want 405 pounds for a set of 10 plus. I want to be able to do multiple sets of 405 on high bar with no butt wink like a normal squat and not have my CNS fatigue. There's not much ploy for me to shed all the weight off. Obviously, I'll keep refining. But there's not really, a point that I want to quickly get it off unless I can hit this strength volume, because the strength volume is truly, my metabolism, my basal metabolic rate, how I can work outside of the gym and just balance the entrepreneurial activity. So, yeah, don't be afraid to power build. Train like a power builder. I think when you watch these vlogs, it's really me going back to the basics on, high bar squat. My form is broken on half those sets I recorded. I threw them up anyways to show that horrible butt wink, but you'll watch me refine it over time. And then hammer strength. I am not using, broccoli hair, tiny weights, right? I loaded up the hammer strength. I showed the CNS a look, per se, grab all those plates and load that on my central nervous system, give it a nice limit, push it up there and see if the central nervous system adapts. Then I hold more electricity for the next set, the next set, the next set, and that's what's been going on to a point where I'm excited for the next vlog, because the next vlog, in my opinion, is going to be an actual normal training session. So this is going to be like the last one where I'm just showcasing the crazy yo-yoing I'm doing. I'm doing high bar back squats, obliterating my central nervous system, then going in the next day and, demolishing it more with hammer strength row volume. And it's like, this will adapt over time. You are just causing a forced adaptation. And if you're going to be an enhanced bodybuilder, you will need to train insane, or you will remain the same. Like I've seen online with so many of these people's cycles, I'm showing you like, okay, if I'm going to risk my health and go on all these PDs, I want to be training like I'm on PDs. I'm not impressed. And this is this central nervous system yo-yo effect I have to do. When in reality, I could train fluff work, high volume, probably create some sort of look. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a gym bull, in my mind, you got to move that heavy ass weight and you got to do that high strength volume. You have to do a strength volume tree. That density, that electricity, in my mind, is the prize if you're going to risk your body the way I'm doing, recompositioning it on this cycle. I will see you guys in my next one.